This is a touchy topic, but somebody got to do it. Are Uber and Lyft drivers being set up to fail with the service animal policy? Uber and Lyft tells you that you can cancel any trip that you don't want. But is that true? Or are they telling you one thing and forcing you to do another? Okay, this is where it gets tricky at. Now, as a rideshare driver, we're labeled as independent. There has to be some type of freedom in there somewhere to allow you as an independent contractor that you're being labeled as to be able to cancel what trips you don't want and take the trips that you do want. It's all labeled business and nothing personal. But the policy, the service animal policy, and Lyft's advertising doesn't mesh well, right? So let me clear this up very quick. I do not have anything against people with disabilities that require assistance from service animals. I don't have an issue with people that have disabilities, okay? Because the service animal community are like walls. You know what I mean? If they feel that they're being attacked or unfairly treated or spoken about, they're going to come out in groves, right? And they're going to start attacking. They don't even try to understand it from the driver's perspective, right? But let's just address the elephant in the room. The service animal community, they walk around with a chip on their shoulder because they require service animals. They have the American with Disability Act on speed dial so they can complain about somebody or some place in public that refused them entry or service because they have a service animal, right? Everybody is against them. They walk around as if the world doesn't exist without a service animal. Now, a lot of you people with service animals have attacked me in the past due to the last videos that I've left. And I clearly explained in those videos from years prior that it was just business, it's nothing personal. Okay? The downside to any Uber or Lyft driver taking a service animal, taking a trip with a passenger that has a service animal is the time that it requires to clean the back of the vehicle versus what you're being paid for the trip. Service animal people, hear me out. Listen to this. Passengers that use Uber and Lyft with service animals, please listen to what I'm trying to say. Don't take this as an attack. Okay? When you are a Uber or Lyft driver, there's nothing in the system that shows you that there's a service animal attached to that trip. They say that there's a passenger, an additional passenger, an additional rider, or whatever. Okay? They don't give the driver the choice to cancel that trip before they even take it. They get you accept the trip and there's an additional passenger. Okay, you don't know what that passenger is. So it backs the driver in a corner. Now, the problem is some people have animal allergies. To the service animal community, they don't care about that. Some people are terrified of animals. To the service animal community, they don't care about that. Some people just do not want to deal with riding passengers with service animals. The service animal community don't care about that. It's their need and nothing else matters. They don't even try to see it from the perspective of the drivers or public places. You know, sometimes you go in restaurants, people eating. There's a dog right there on the floor, licking, doing all types of stuff when there's people eating, right? That is unsanitary. Because, you know, hairs fly, all types of... Everybody don't want to eat around animals. It is a very uncomfortable situation. But the establishment is backed into a hole because of the law. If they separate service animals, customers, from regular customers, that's discrimination. If they refuse them, there's discrimination. So you have people that have animal allergies and all types of phobias or maybe even religions about animals. And they are being forced to have to deal with those situations. And it's unfair. You know what I mean? It's unfair. Okay? Now, again, as an independent contractor, you should have some kind of freedom to accept and reject whatever trip that you don't want. You should not be backed in a hole and make it appear as if you are breaking the law because you are making a business decision. The platforms should have a section where service animal passengers can request rides from drivers that don't mind driving service animals. Okay? But they don't. They don't. Most of the time, people are putting dogs in your car and you don't even know if it's a service animal or not. You better not ask them, does that service animal have papers? That's discrimination. That can get you removed from the platform. It will get a complaint through the ADA from the service animal passenger. I told you these people ride around, they walk around, they move around with the ADA on speed dial. In every establishment, corporate office of every establishment or service that they utilize on a daily basis, it's on speed dial because they're looking for someone to complain about. You understand? Look, as an Uber or a Lyft driver, man, you have no choice. The policy backs you in the hole. Either you take the trips with the passengers, with the service animals, and just take time to go and clean the car, vacuum the hairs out of the car, and get ready for the next trip and lose 30 minutes, or get deactivated. I'm addressing the elephant in the room. Here on my channel at Rideshare Real Talk, man, I talk about real things that the drivers actually go through. Oh, I'm going to address topics that everybody else stay away from. Because everybody else feel like, hey man, I'm not gonna touch that topic. I don't want that fight. I want the fight. The service animal community can bring the fight to me. I have battled with them before due to previous videos in years past that I've made about these service animal trips. Look, I took a service animal trip one day. I took a trip one day. I did not know it was a service animal attached to the trip. When I pulled up, there's a gentleman standing there with a big old tall husky. He gets in the back seat. He puts the husky in the floor. Okay? The gentleman was blind. Okay? He needed that dog. I understand that. I took him somewhere and dropped him off. That trip paid me somewhere probably like $7, maybe close to $8. I get a trip instantly right there at the time when I'm dropping him off to go pick somebody else up. I looks in the back seat. Hair is everywhere. I look all, because the dog got in the floor. Hair all over the seats in the back, all over the back, the front seats, the back of the front seats. You can see where the dog has been licking all over the. If I would have went and picked another individual up with all that hair in that floor and on them seats that came from his clothes, right? And all you could visually see where the animal had licked. Okay? If I would have if I would have went and picked someone up with all of that filth in the back seat, then I would have got a complaint because the vehicle was nasty. So I had to cancel that trip, and I went straight to the car wash where I had a subscription at. And it took me maybe 25 to 30 minutes to vacuum, because you know those dog hairs are fine. It took me 25 to 30 minutes to vacuum all that hair off the seats and the floor and take some disinfectant and wipe down the seats in the back, the console in the back, the door, all that stuff, to wipe that stuff down. It took me 30 minutes of time. I lost that time because of that trip. Every service animal trip that I got was the same situation. It was only one service animal trip that I received where the lady had the animal in a carrying case. And this was a bigger dog. But she had the animal in a carrying case. There was no hair. The animal didn't lick anything because the animal was in a carrying case. Every service, and I've did a lot of service animal trips, and each one of them put me behind on earnings and time of driving. And it was frustrating because it's unfair to pay someone $8, $9, $10, it doesn't matter. But yet they have to stop and they have to go and clean for 20 to 30 minutes to get back online. That is not right. And this is nothing against the service animal community in a discriminatory manner. This is business, nothing personal. The service animal community should band together And you all should talk to these corporations, Uber and Lyft, and you should ask them, can they create a section of drivers that do not mind driving passengers with service animals? Don't back the drivers in the hole. It does not, it's unfair. You got so many people out here with medical papers saying that they have animal allergies. You have people that are really, that really fear animals. I don't care how nice the animals are. Everybody's not. Everybody's is not privy to service animals. You're going in the restaurant, there they go in the floor. People are eating right there at the table beside them. They're licking all over everything. Hair is flying everywhere. How is that sanitary? But the restaurant, any grocery stores that they walk them in, they better not refuse them, because there's an instant discrimination, either the lawsuit or discrimination complaint. Because as I said in the beginning, they walk around, they move around with the ADA on speed dial, and all of these businesses, corporate offices on speed dial, so they can file a complaint. They're looking to get somebody in trouble, because everybody that has an issue with them and their service animal is discriminatory. You know what I'm saying? They don't look at nothing from nobody else's point of view but theirs. And that's wrong. You know what I mean? So Uber and Lyft drivers are being set up to fail with the service animal policy, because every bit of a strong 80% of drivers in this world is going to decline or find some type of way to get around taking trips with service animals, because they are unprofitable. Okay? This is not an attack on the service animal community. This is not, I don't have nothing against people with disabilities that require service animals. This is business. Uber and Lyft make the drivers independent contractors. Then where's the freedom to be able to say, I don't want that, or I don't want that? They tell us that we can reject any trip that we are not comfortable with, but yet the policy that they put in place sets us up to fail. Look, man, I'm just trying my best to provide y'all with some content so that I can get my point across, because I've actually been through all this shit. Okay? Now I'm struggling with YouTube trying to get monetized. Man, I got 500 videos and I ain't getting paid for none of them. But yet I come out here a few times a week and I still bring that content to y'all that I know you all gonna need. Now my delivery may be a little bit messed up. The lighting is bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the best equipment or anything. You know? But I'm doing this because I love y'all. Yes, I want to get monetized so I can get paid, so this content can get a whole lot better. But man, I'm truly doing this because I love y'all. YouTube is frustrating. Yes, it is. Man, I'm hardly getting any watch hours, and I'm barely getting subscribers. But like I said, the content that I'm bringing to you all, I'm doing my best to keep y'all engaged to the end of the video. This is real content, man. Ain't none of this shit got no dynamic lighting and all this bullshit. I'm getting y'all real game. Okay? Look. So at the end of the day, Uber and Lyft say drivers have freedom, but situations like the service animal policy make a lot of drivers feel like the freedom has limits. And depending on how you look at it, they can either protect riders or put drivers in a tough position. We know that Uber and Lyft, they're going to protect the riders 100%. So I want to hear from you drivers and you riders. Do you think drivers should have the right to refuse any ride, no matter the situation? Or should certain rules like service animal policy be non-negotiable? But I truly want to hear from the service animal community, because I want to see, is there anyone in the service animal community that actually cares about the drivers? Or is it only, or do they all only care about their need because they are at a disadvantage with a service animal? Hey man, I'm out. But before I go, if somebody didn't tell you today that they love you, I do. Service animal community, Rideshare Real Talk loves you. And it's only business, nothing personal.